ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणे विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
वन्दे
गुरुपरम्पराम्।
ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः
गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै गुरवे नमः।
ॐ
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। Okay, you can chant with me now. वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रम् नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुम्. All of you can chant. Unmute your mic and chant. मुमुक्षूणां
हितार्थाय
तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते साधनचतुष्टय सम्पन्नाधिकारिणाम् or we can split that word into two. Sadhana-chatustaya sampanna adhikarinam moksha-sadhana-bhutam Tattva-viveka-prakaram Vakshyaamaha Sadhana-chatustayam kim Nitya-nitya-vastu-vivekaha Iha amutra Iha okay, I'll say it together. Iha mutrartha Phalviragaha Shamadishatka sampattihi Mumukshutvam cheti Nitya-nitya-vastu vivekakkaha Nityavastu ekam brahma
नित्यवस्तु एकं ब्रह्म
Ekam Brahma, not Brahma. Nityavastu Ekam Brahma.
नित्यवस्तु एकं ब्रह्म
Tadvyatiriktam
तद्व्यतिरिक्तम्
Anyat
अन्यत्
Sarvam Anityam
सर्वमनित्यम्
Ayameva Nitya Nityavastu Vivekaha
अयमेव वस्तु
Virahakha
विरागः
Iha Svarga Bhogeshu
इह स्वर्गभोगेषु
Ichharahityam
इच्छाराहित्यम्
Samadhishan Shatta Sampatikha
समाधिषट्कसम्पत्तिका
Shamodama
शमोदमा
Uparatihi.
उपरतिः
Okay, I'll split this and say, I can chant it. Shamaha,
शमः
Damaha,
दमः
Uparamaha,
उपरमः
Titiksha,
तितिक्षा
Shraddha,
श्रद्धा
Samadhanam Cheti.
समाधानं चेति
Okay, now we will continue with the class. The last class, we saw the prayer verse. Vasudevendra Yogendram. This is the beginning of this text, which is a prayer. And you can all mute your mics now. So this prayer is in a verse form. This is a metrical form which can be recited. The text as such, it is in a prose form. This is a prose text. You will find the prayer in a verse form, and also the last text will be in a verse form. Except the first and the last one, all the whole text will be in a prose form. As I said before, this book, this is a book of definitions. The word for definition in Sanskrit is paribhasha. Paribhasha is a word. So this is a book of paribhasha, paribhashaha. We must know all the definitions. Like we must know the technical jargons when you deal with any particular subject matter. For example, if you are playing cricket, say, then you must know no ball. What is a no ball? Wide, LBW, leg before wicket, and silly point, mid wicket, mid on, mid off. So all these are technical jargons in the game cricket. You cannot translate these technical jargons into another language. For example, if you translate, say, for example, no ball into Tamil, if you translate, it will be no means illai, ball is pandu, illai pandu, pandu illai. So it doesn't sound good, right? No ball is a technical jargon, it should be no ball only. Similarly, if you translate LBW, leg before wicket, if you translate into Tamil, it will be Kuchi Munkal. We cannot say Kuchi Munkal. It looks very funny, right? So these are all technical jargons. So we must know when we play cricket. Suppose if you are a chemistry student, you must know the basic definitions, the paribhasha, like acid, alkali, anode, cathode, bonding, entropy, enthalpy. So similarly with any subject matter, whether it is science or economics or commerce, history, geography, any subject you take, you must be familiar with the definitions, the basic definitions. Similarly, we have a set of technical jargons, definitions, paribhashas in the field of self-knowledge, atma-jnana, which we must be familiar with. And in this book, the author, he introduces all the definitions very beautifully. And also in the process, the author, he unfolds the subject matter. The beauty is, the author introduces various words, technical words, paribhashas, in a cogent order, one leading to the other, and thereby the author covers the whole, everything the Vedanta has to say. For example, if the author will give a definition for a particular term, and while defining that term, he will use another technical word, for which he will give an explanation in the next text. I mean, next verse. There is no verse here; it is a prose. So he will give the definition successively. So in this way, the author has beautifully presented. There is an interesting story behind this book. It was told by Swamiji in our class. In the tradition, you will find generally the Vedanta students will read Vedanta Sara. That is the book generally a Vedanta student studies in the beginning. It is a book written by Sadananda. It is also a Prakarana Grantha, Vedantic treatise like Tattvabodha. But this Tattvabodha is very simpler than Vedanta Sara. Swamiji, he discovered this book when he was in Rishikesh. When Swamiji was in Rishikesh, another person who was also a Swami, probably belonging to the different order, he came and asked Swamiji to give him 10 talks on Gita. 10 talks on Gita, because that person was going to America to give a series of talks there. Our Swamiji told him, why don't you stay here for a few months, I will teach you the whole Gita systematically in a few months. But the person said no, he was going shortly and there is no time for him to stay in Rishikesh. So he wanted Swamiji to teach him, to give him the gist of the whole the Vedanta. So Swamiji was looking for this, a small book in the ashram library, and Swamiji came across this book. So he taught him the Tattvabodha. And after a few days, that person told, Swamiji, I have got enough material. This material will be enough for me to give talks in US, and he happily went away. So afterwards, Swamiji started teaching this book in all his courses as a first book. That is how this book has it has come into the Arshavidya tradition, Tattvabodha. Okay. And Vedanta Sara, that is, we can say that is an extension of Tattvabodha. It deals elaborately. The content is same as in Tattvabodha, it deals elaborately. So Tattvabodha is a condensed form of Vedanta Sara. But Vedanta Sara is also a very good book. It is a book of definitions, paribhasha. It is also worth memorizing, both Tattvabodha and Vedanta Sara. It covers all the basic definitions of Vedanta. So it is better to memorize both the texts.
Is that in English or just Sanskrit, the Vedanta Sara?
It's also in Sanskrit.
No, is it available in English?
Translations are available. Okay, you can ask me all the questions at the end of the class.
Yeah. I know.
Note it down.
Sorry.
In the last class, if you remember what we discussed, the final discussion was about Anubandha Chatushtayam. Anubandha Chatushtayam. Anubandha Chatushtayam, it means fourfold factors. Fourfold factors that connect you with this book. Fourfold factors that connect you with any book for that matter. Every book should have Anubandha Chatushtayam. We will talk about that further. So this Anubandha Chatushtayam can be translated as fourfold factors or fourfold connections. Any text in the tradition, it should talk about these fourfold connections in the beginning. Either directly or indirectly, the text should mention. The author of the book should give in the beginning of a text the fourfold connection so that a person can make up his mind whether to continue reading it or stop it. So, in this way, that Anubandha Chatushtayam is very helpful in giving information to the reader. So, the word Anubandha, it means Anubadhnati. Anubadhnati iti Anubandha. That is, this Anubandha means that which connects you, that by which it is connected. Anubadhnati, that which connects you. Anubadhnati is that which connects you. So Anubandha. So if a person knows the fourfold factors that the book discusses, and if he is interested, then that person is connected to the book. It means this book is meant for him. This book is meant for him. Any book, for that matter, should have these fourfold factors. Whether it mentions or not, it should have these fourfold factors. Any book. Suppose there is a book, how to overcome the problem of obesity. The name of the book itself says how to overcome the problem of obesity. It is about obesity. So this book is not meant for the person who is very thin, who is bony. He has nothing but skeletal structure. He is underweight and even not even eligible for blood donation. So he is not the qualified person, adhikari, to read this book. So such person, when seeing the name of the book itself, he knows whether to buy it or not. Even when we go to bookshops, we find books on various topics. But what we do, either we ask or go to a section which has books to our interest and to our qualifications. Therefore, in the tradition, all these things were known, and therefore they talk about it in the beginning itself, in the form of either a verse or a prose form. They will mention it. In this text, author has, in the prayer verse itself, he has told. We will see how the author has pointed all the fourfold connections. What are those fourfold factors, Anubandha Chatushtayam? We saw them in the previous class. What are those fourfold factors? Number one, adhikari. Adhikari is the first factor. Number two, vishayaha. Adhikari is a qualified person. Vishayaha is the subject matter. Sambandhaha, it is the sambandhaha, it means connection. Prayojanam, prayojanam is usefulness. So adhikari, vishayaha, sambandhaha, prayojanam. These four make the Anubandha Chatushtayam. These are all very important words. You must know this. So now the author has to tell for whom is writing this book, Tattvabodha? Who is the Adhikari, the qualified person to study this book? The author has to tell. Suppose there is a book dealing with higher mathematics. Naturally, a person who is doing English literature, he will not be interested in the book. If I know I'm not qualified for the book, then I will not waste my time to go through the pages. Right? So, therefore, the author, in the beginning itself, he has told very clearly. What is that? Mumukshunam. That word mumukshuhu is that mumukshunam. So, mumukshu is the adhikari. Though we discussed about this in the previous class, I will elaborate it further. In the context of self-knowledge, Atma Vidya, when we say adhikari, adhikari means a qualified person, and depending on the degree of difference in qualifications, and this adhikari can be classified into three. Adhikari can be classified into three. What are those three? Uttama adhikari. Number one, Uttama adhikari. Number two, Madhyama adhikari. Number three, Mandha adhikari. Mandha adhikari. Uttama adhikari means what? Uttama adhikari means that a person has the right qualifications. Yes, all the qualifications. He is a fit recipient. He is ready for this knowledge. He is like a camphor which catches fire immediately. So, when that person is exposed to Shastram, knowledge takes place in him. He has complete yogyata. He has got complete yogyata for jnana praptihi, and therefore moksha praptihi. Jnana praptihi itself is moksha praptihi. We discussed that. So, for such a uttama adhikari, Guru praptihi itself is moksha prapti. Provided the Guru is like Swamiji. Guru praptihi, because the words of the Guru will give him jnanam, and jnanam itself is moksha. Therefore, I say Guru praptihi itself is moksha praptihi, and that Guru should be like Swamiji. The Guru should know how to unfold, how to unlock the words of the Shastra. Okay. Now the second category, Madhyam Adhikari. Madhyam Adhikari, it means a person, he may have the minimum qualification which he can improve upon. That is, in him there is a possibility of enhancing his yogyata. Yogyata for jnana praptihi. That is, he is a Madhyama Adhikari. And Mandha Adhikari, the last category. Mandha Adhikari is a person who may not have even the minimum qualification, but still there is a possibility of knowledge taking place in him, depending on his commitment and persistence. He has to work hard to enhance his qualification. So these are the three categories. In fact, these three categories are there on many various things. Even in a class, there are a group of students are there. The students can be classified into three categories. There are some students who pick up the subject matter immediately, and for them, they have to go back and do homework. And for the last category, it takes a long time for them to understand. So, you will find these three categories. In fact, an ideal adhikari, we say an ideal adhikari, it doesn't exist. There is no ideal adhikari. An ideal adhikari is like the ideal gas in chemistry. There is no ideal gas as such. It is an imaginary thing or expectation which doesn't exist. Therefore, there is no such thing as adhikari. When we say Uttama adhikari, he also has scope to improve, like Madhyama adhikari. And Mandha adhikari, of course, he has got a huge scope to improve. So everybody is no subject to improvement. Adhikaritvam is always subject to improvement. There is no end to improvement. Till we say Panguchkaya. The Swami used to say that Panguchkaya means it's a Hindi expression in Hindi, which means the person has reached the destination point, the point from where there is no return. Here the reaching means not physically, it means a person has gained knowledge. What is to be attained, he has attained in terms of understanding. That is what the word Pangujgaya in Hindi means. So, therefore, a person has always the possibility of improvements, improving his adhikaritva. One of the advantage of repeated Shravanam, I hope you understand by the word Shravanam. Shravanam is exposure to Shastra. So one of the advantage of Shravanam is, the more you do Shravanam, you increase your Jnana Yogyata. You increase your Jnana Yogyata. Even if you don't have the qualification, if you keep listening to the Shastram, you develop the qualification in you. That is one of the advantage of Shastram, listening to the Shastram. Each time you listen, you get more and more and more clarity. That clarity enhances your Yogyata. So the whole process itself is nothing but growing clarity. The vision of the Shastra becomes more and more clear to you. It is what understanding means. When you grow in Adhikaritvam, your understanding grows. That is why the students, who don't appreciate or understand the teaching in the beginning, later they appreciate more and more the teaching of the Guru. And I have seen in the ashram people saying to Swamiji, today's class was excellent. Really speaking, Swamiji was telling the same thing every class. But the Shishya, he appreciates the teaching when he's growing in understanding and have the clarity of the vision, the Shastra. But still, depending on the minimum qualification, we make this classification with 3 categories: Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Mandadhikari. For this knowledge, self-knowledge, a person may belong to any ashrama but can be an adhikari. What I mean by ashrama is, that person may belong to a brahmacharya ashrama or a grihastha ashrama or vanaprastha ashrama or sannyasa ashrama. Ashrama doesn't matter. What matters is adhikaritva matters. A person may belong to grihastha ashrama, but he may be an uttama adhikari. A person may belong to sannyasa ashrama, but he may be a andha adhikari. There are a lot of examples there in the Shastra itself. You know, the Janaka, the king of Mithila, the father of Sita, he was a great jnani. He was a grihastha jnani. When he was a student, he was an uttama adhikari. There is an incident which happened in his life. When he was listening to the teaching of the Guru in the ashram, a soldier came and reported to Janaka that the Mithila was burning in fire. A huge fire was consuming the whole city. But this Mithila, he was composed and he was listening to the teaching of the Guru. And he said, Mithilayam pradagdhayam name dagati kinchana. Mithilayam pradagdhayam, even if the Mithila burns, name dagati kinchana. I have nothing to lose. This is the word he said. This is a sentence, right? So whereas all the brahmacharis and sannyasis who are listening to the words of the Guru, they all, ran to protect their kopinam, which they kept hanging. So, as a king who has the responsibility of, the praja, he was a uttamadhikari. Similarly, we find another incident in Mahabharata. There was a butcher with the name Dharmavyata. He was his profession was a butcher. But a young brahmachari who had gained siddhis by his tapas, he had to go to him to gain jnanam. So, similarly, there's another person, I remember, Bhaskaraya. Bhaskaraya was a great Devi Upasaka. In fact, Bhaskaraya wrote commentary on Lalita Sahasranama. He was a Grihastha. Once a sannyasi came to his village. All the people in the village, they offered namaskara to that sannyasi. And Bhaskaraya didn't do it. The sannyasi was offended. He felt offended. He came to Bhaskaraya and inquired him. Then Bhaskaraya, what he did, he planted a pole into the ground and offered namaskara to the pole, to the stick. The pole immediately got burnt. That is the power of Bhaskaraya, tapas of Bhaskaraya. Then he told Sadhu, that Sadhu sannyasi, if they had offered namaskara to you, you can imagine what would have happened to you. So, now we can know the adhikari. Adhikari doesn't depend on the ashrama. Adhikari depends on the person himself. Therefore, irrespective of the ashrama, everybody is eligible for gaining this knowledge. And what is required is adhikaritvam, and adhikaritvam is always subject to improvement. We should enhance it always. So this is the first factor in the fourfold factors, fourfold connections. The second factor is Vishayaha. Vishayaha, subject matter, the topic. So when we say topic, is it a book on language or arts or science or what? So that has to be told in the beginning of the text itself. That is like the name board of a shop. You are looking for something and you see the name board of the shop and you just walk away because the board reveals that what you want is not available there. Suppose board is not there. So what will happen? You will spend 1 hour inside and finally come to know what you want is not there. It's a waste of time, right? So here in this text, the author has told very clearly the subject matter. What is the subject matter? The subject matter is Tattvabodha. Tattvabodha abhidiyate. Tattvabodha is presented. That is like a name board of a shop. So this is what it is going to be presented. If you are interested, you please proceed further. That is what it means. The next factor is prayojanam. Prayojanam is usefulness. What do I get out of this book? What is the benefit? Whether can I increase my bank balance? Whether can I improve my health? Whether can I live longer? All this has to be mentioned because prayojanam anuddishya namandopi pravartate. Without expecting any prayojanam, any usefulness, even a fool will not engage in any activity. He knows around for what I will get where, right? So therefore, benefit is very important thing everyone looks for. That is why all the companies market their products by highlighting the benefits prominently through advertisements. So the author has to tell the benefit in the beginning itself. What is the benefit? Mumukshunam hitataya. For the benefit of mumukshu. What is the benefit of mumukshu? Moksha. Mukshu, what does a mumukshu want? Moksha. That is a benefit. That is why mumukshunam hitarthaya is there in the text, first text itself. It is mentioned. Mumukshunam hitarthaya. That is the prayojanam. Now the fourth factor is sambandha. Sambandha. It means a relationship. A relationship between the Vishayaha and the Prayojanam. Relationship between Vishayaha and Prayojanam is the Sambandha. Vishayaha is the subject matter, Prayojanam is the usefulness. So what is the relationship between Vishayaha and Prayojanam? So generally knowledge doesn't give rise to Prayojanam unless it is made use of. Like cooking. You have a book on cooking. That knowledge will give you that book will give you the knowledge, but you have to cook. If to have food, you have to cook, not the book. You have to cook the groceries and get food. Similarly, suppose if there is a book on the knowledge of temples of South India, so that book will give you only the knowledge, but you have to make an effort to visit that place and experience it. So, generally speaking, knowledge will not give rise to prayojanam unless you put effort. You have to work to gain that prayojanam, usefulness. But knowledge can directly give prayojanam without any effort also. That is also possible. Like what? Suppose you have kept your spectacles above the eyes on your forehead, and you forgot it, and now you are searching for it all over. That searching for all over is samsara. The searching for all over and shouting at people, that is what is samsara is. Now, the knowledge that spectacles is there above your eyes, that is enough to give the prayojanam of gaining the spectacles. So, in Vedanta, this is a sambandha. This sambandha is unlike elsewhere. Knowledge itself is the result here. So, between knowledge and the result, action is needed sometimes, and sometimes action not necessary. But in the field of Vedanta, we don't need any action. Right? There are two types of sambandha. There are two types of sambandha possible. One is the chodaka chodya sambandha. I tell you what is it. Chodaka chodya sambandha. Chodaka chodya sambandha means the relationship between the means and the end. Relationship between the means and the end. Means is the sadhana, end is the sadhyam. So the relationship between the sadhana and the sadhyam, which involves action. This is one type of sambandha. The other type of sambandha is pratipadaka pratipadya sambandha. Pratipadaka pratipadya sambandha, or we can say bodhaka bodhya sambandha. Bodhaka bodhya sambandha. That is the relationship between the revealer and the revealed. The relationship between the revealer and the revealed, which doesn't involve any action. So, two types of sambandha in general possible. What are they? One is chodaka chodya sambandha, which involves action. The second one is pratipadaka pratipadya sambandha, or bodhya bodhaka sambandha, which doesn't involve any action. In Vedanta, which sambandha is there? The later one, pratipadaka pratipadya sambandha. So, this chodaka chodya sambandha, you will see this in all objective knowledge. In this sambandha, the goal is the sadhya. The goal is not attained by mere knowledge. It is not attained by mere knowledge. Chodaka means that which gives information about the goals. Chodya means goals itself, and always action involved in this sambandha. Like the example what I give, cooking. I can give from the example from Veda itself. Veda Purva, that is the Karmakanda portion of the Veda, as a pramanam, right? Please try to understand this. This Veda is divided into two portions. One is the Karmakandam and other is the Jnanakandam. Karmakandam is also known as Veda Purvaha. Veda Purvaha is the former portion. Jnanakandam is the latter portion, that is Vedanta. Jnanakandam is Vedanta. It is the end portion of the Vedas. All the rituals, karma, mentioned in the Veda Purva, Karmakandam, it have to be done to enjoy the benefits. Veda Purva gives knowledge about the subject matter, like going to Swarga or getting rain or children, right? This Kariri Yajna, Putra Kameshti Yajna, all the knowledge is given by the Veda Purva, Karma Kanda portion of the Veda. And it prescribes karma to gain that benefit, that particular benefit. Therefore, it has Chodaka Chodya Sambandha. Veda Purva has got Chodaka Chodya Sambandha. That is, between the Vishaya and the Prayojanam, the Sambandha is Chodaka Chodya. Action is involved. Whereas Vedanta is completely different. Vedanta, the Jnana Kandam portion of the Veda, is completely different. No action is required. Because the nature of knowledge is like that. The Sambandha is Pratipadaka, Pratipadya Sambandha. Pratipadaka means that which reveals. Pratipadya means that which is revealed. So the relationship between the Vishaya and the Prayojanam, the Sambandha is Pratipadaka Pratipadya Sambandha. Therefore, so the last factor, the fourfold connections, is Sambandha, and in Vedanta, the context of Vedanta, it is Pratipadaka Pratipadya Sambandha. Knowledge gives moksha. No action is involved. So this is the Anubandha Chatushtayam for any text. Right? Adhikari, Vishayaha, Prayojanam, Sambandha. In fact, this is not only for the text. In fact, this we find this very common even in drafting a prospectus for any job or educational courses. You know, they will say what are the subjects taught and what is the prayojanam of the course and what is the eligibility. Like any entrance exam is there. So this Anubandha Chatushtayam, it is there almost in all our applications. But in our tradition, they know it. That is the beauty. So in this text, Tattvabodha, the author has said clearly in the beginning itself, Adhikari is Mumukshuhu. Mumukshunam Itatraya. So Adhikari is Mumukshuhu. Vishayaka is Tattvabodha. That is Bodha, knowledge, not Tattva, truth. So knowledge of the truth. That is the Vishayaka, subject matter. Prayojanam is Mokshaha. Mokshaha is the Prayojanam, freedom. And Sambandha is what? Sambandha is that relation between the Vishaya, Tattvabodha and Prayojanam. It is Bodha. Sambandha is Bodha, knowledge, which gives Mokshaha. Sambandha is knowledge which gives Mokshaha. Pratipadaka, Pratipadya Sambandha, that which will be unfolded in the form of teaching. That we will see when we study the text further. Okay. Now we will continue reading. So the first prayer verse we have completed in the last class. So now the second one. There is no number actually. It is not a verse. Second one we will do. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna Adhikarinam. We have already read this. Just I will read for myself. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna Adhikarinam Moksha Sadhana Bhutam Tattva Viveka Prakaram Vakshyamaha. So the author says here Vakshyamaha. Vakshyamaha, which means we will say. We will say Vakshyamaha. The author says that the subject matter will be expounded here. Tattva Viveka Prakaram, Tattva Viveka Prakaram Vakshyamaha. Vakshyamaha, the word Vakshyamaha is plural. That is, we will say. Why we? The author is only one. Only one author is there. There are no many authors. It is not a collective work of many authors. Then the author should have said Vakshyami. Those who know Sanskrit, Vakshyami, Vakshavaha, Vakshyamaha. So it is Uttama Purusha, Ekavachanam should be Vakshyami. But the author says Vakshyamaha in plural. Why? The subject matter is it's not the discovery of the author. The author cannot and doesn't claim for the discovery of this truth. The author received this knowledge from his guru, and his guru received knowledge from his guru from his guru. So it goes on, and finally it goes to Ishvara himself, Dakshinamurti. So by saying Vakshyamaha, the author, he identifies the whole parampara, the lineage. And when the author identifies the parampara lineage, by identifying with the parampara, he also indicates that the teaching will be in keeping with the sampradaya. Sampradaya automatically comes in. Parampara means lineage of gurus. Lineage of gurus through whom the knowledge is transferred. Sampradaya means the teaching which is taught in the parampara by all the gurus by using appropriate methods in keeping with the tradition. In keeping with the tradition. It means the tradition is infallible. It is impeccable. That is sampradaya. The teaching is impeccable. The teaching is not subject to improvement. This is the main difference between our traditional knowledge and the modern scientific knowledge. In the field of science, if you take, each scientist will disprove the discovery of the former or modify the discovery. In fact, getting PhD is nothing but improving or disproving the theory of the former discoveries. This Aristotle's famous theory of matter. He said that all matter can be divided into infinitely small particles. This is what his theory. But after Dalton came and he disproved it by saying that the atom is the smallest particle which cannot be divided. And Dalton's theory was further disproved by Thomson when he discovered electrons. And the student of Thomson is Rutherford. He did further investigation on the model proposed by Thomson and modified it. Therefore, it goes on, and even it still continues. A student comes later and discovers or disproves. He discovers something new or disproves his teacher's theory. But in our tradition, in the field of this self-knowledge, Atmajnanam, there is no such improvement possible. A disciple has to say what the teacher has said. He cannot improve upon the teaching of the teacher. Therefore, it is an infallible parampara. And the teaching is also, it is evergreen, sampradaya. Sampradaya is samyak pradiyate iti sampradaya. It is about the teaching. So here, when the author says vakshyamaha, it means he identifies with this Guru Parampara. That is why he says vakshyamaha. Also, out of humility also, the author would have said. The author, we don't use Uttama Purusha Ekavachanam. I did that. No. In our Sampradaya, we always say in Bhagavachanam, Uttama Purusha Bhagavachanam. That conveys, that shows our humility. Okay. Now, Vakshyamaha, author says, I will expound. What will the author expound? The subject matter, Vishayaha. What is the subject matter? What is the Vishayaha? Tattva Viveka Prakaram. Tattva Viveka Prakaram. If you see Tattva Viveka Prakaram, it is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. So Vakshyamaha, the author says, I will expound Tattva Viveka Prakaram. Prakaram means method. Tattva means the truth, the reality. Viveka is knowledge. What knowledge? It is a distinct knowledge or clear knowledge. That is the nature or the truth of oneself. Jivaha. Not only Jivaha, the world, the Jagat and Ishvara. So the knowledge of Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. Clear knowledge of Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. It is Vivekaha. And Atma is the truth. Therefore, Tattva Viveka Prakaram, we can say Atma Tattva Viveka Prakaram. You can add Atma, Atma Viveka Prakaram. Atma is a Tattva. Atma is the truth. Therefore, a distinct, clear knowledge of Atma will be, I will expound. I means the author says he will expound. How to gain this knowledge? That method is Prakara. That method is Prakara. So, Atma Tattva Viveka, that is the subject matter of this text. And the method is inquiry, which is Viveka. Viveka is the inquiry. So, Viveka is different from Vichara. Vichara, it means simple inquiry. Vichara means simple inquiry. Viveka is, it means a distinguishing inquiry. It means, a distinct inquiry. Vichara is simple analysis. Viveka is a distinct analysis. Suppose you see a red stone and someone tells it is a crystal. Now, you have to do Viveka to see why the crystal appears red. The color, either it may belong to the crystal or it may belong to the object nearby. Suppose there is a hibiscus, Japa kusumam is there. The crystal is colorless. The redness of the Japa kusumam, that hibiscus, will be reflected in the crystal, and therefore the crystal looks red. So now distinctly knowing the two objects involved in that perception, red perception, and knowing both of them as they are, and you account for the erroneous perception, that is Viveka. Why the crystal appears red? The crystal is really colorless. The proximity of the hibiscus, which is red in color, it lends its color to the crystal. So you do Viveka and see the erroneous perception. Here, this is what is called Viveka. Viveka is required when there is a mix-up. When one thing is mixed with another, you need to do Viveka. Vichara is when there are some sentences in that, we will do simple inquiry to understand what it is, that is Vichara. So we will see, we also use Atma Vichara. That is also we use, but in the context I will explain what it is. Now we are talking about Viveka. So, Atma is Nitya Vastu. Atma is Nityaha. What I mean by Nityaha is, Atma is ever there, it is permanent. It is taken to be, but it is taken to be mortal. It is taken to be mortal. That is a mistake. That is, mortality is thrown upon Atma by Anatma, that is a body. Body is Anatma. Body is not permanent, Atma is permanent. So the mortality of Anatma, body, is thrown upon Atma, and therefore there is a mix-up. Therefore, when a person dies, we say the person is gone, the Atma is destroyed. There is the confusion, therefore we require Viveka. Like the redness is thrown upon the crystal by this hibiscus, where we do Viveka to remove the erroneous perception. Similarly, here also we need to do Viveka. Atma is Nityaha and body is Anityaha, and there is a mix-up of both in our understanding. That has to go, and that is will go by the Viveka. So, therefore, here we must understand Viveka. It means, can translate into English as discrimination. Discrimination means it's not like the gender discrimination or the racial discrimination. Discrimination is discriminating the two things which has mixed up and become one. So clear understanding, a distinct understanding of what it is, of each what it is. That is the Viveka, which the author is going to expound further. Tattvabodha Prakaram Pakshyamaha. So I think we can stop here. I will take up this the same prose in the next class, and we will further discuss on it. Because it's already 1 hour past, I think, 9 o'clock. I have more things to say, so it won't be possible today. So I think we will stop here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank you,
If you
Dick.
have any doubts, you can ask me.
Thank you, Dick.
I think I found the book PDF in English, Vedanta Saram.